Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. Right, so here's a video. So if you've got a marathon coming up, whether it's a spring marathon or one in the autumn, I've got London and I've got New York coming up. And if you're a heel striker, stand by and watch this video, okay? Because I'm going to be suggesting what I think are the best shoes to take on those marathons with if you're a heel striker. Now I'm going to roughly categorize them into kind of, they're all super shoes, nearly all of them. I'm going to categorize them into really fast shoes, shoes that could get you under 3 hours potentially. Another category which is more like sort of 4.5 hours to 3, something like that. And then we have some other, let's say, off the wall suggestions that you may not have thought of, but actually would also be viable options for running a marathon as a heel striker. Now, I haven't used all of these shoes to run a marathon. I mean, if I had, I would have run a lot more marathons, but I have used them a lot. And I do know, being in the past a heel striker, I do know what makes a good shoe for a heel striker, and we'll go into that during the video. We've had a lot of shoes recently released, like the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0 and the Adidas Pro 4, which have been terrible for heel strikers. So this is my way of readdressing the balance for you guys. Well over 60% of us land on our heels, so why should we be counted out of good shoes for marathon running or any kind of running, right? I say we because I used to be a heel striker myself, so I can say we. So this is my way, Runnable Ed's way of readdressing the balance, and I hope you find this useful. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I believe is the best shoe or the best shoes for you heel strikers to run your marathon in. So I hope that makes sense, and please keep watching to see my thoughts on the best marathon racing shoes that are available today for you heel strikers. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the shoes. So the first category we're going to look at is what I would class as the safe bets here. The shoes that I think are pretty good shoes. And if you're a fast runner, you definitely could run under 3 hours in these shoes. But if you're somewhere in between the 4.5, maybe 3 hour mark, I think these shoes would be perfect for your marathon. So the first shoe I'm going to mention, and it's also the shoe that I've got a video, run footage video in Battersea Park at the end of this whole video that you can watch, is a shoe that actually I haven't used loads, but when I have used it, and particularly when I heel striked it, I actually quite like this shoe. So, and I prefer it actually heel striking than I do on my forefoot, and that says a lot actually. So this is a Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, this bright orange shoe that I've got in front of me. Now, I think this is a really good, stable, but superb shoe if you're a heel striker. And one of the main reasons for that is this huge heel flare, sole flare, sorry, here, which means you get a really wide base to land on, okay? And it feels really nice landing on this huge stack, this 40mm stack of foam at the back here. As it's got an 8mm drop, so this rapidly reduces to at the forefoot to 32. And when I've run in this shoe and I hit the forefoot, I've not liked it as much as some of the others, and I think it's mainly because I don't have as much cushioning where I have the most impact. But when I run and I strike in a kind of flat way, which means my heel hits the ground first, this shoe comes to life. It's also not a bad shoe for picking up the pace as well. It's reasonably light. It's around 228 grams in my UK size 9, and I went true to size in this. It's also got one of the most amazing uppers you find in any shoe. In fact, along with the Nike Alpha Fly, 3, this is my favorite upper. It's got this like elasticated material that kind of fits to your foot shape. It's wide enough, not mega wide, but it's wide enough. I have no problems with any foot rubbing, and I get superb lockdown. It's got a nice cushioned heel collar, and counter is semi-rigid, how I like it. It's got a really nice little feature where you can fold the tongue down and you can cinch the laces on top of this Saucony sign. If you flick it up, you can see it's got the name, and you flick it down, it's got the sign, and you can cinch your laces across here. And so you get no lace bite whatsoever. Really nicely designed shoe. It's got a nice grip on it. It's really good grip, actually. It has got quite a bit of exposed foam, but I've had very little wearage of this foam. I haven't used it loads, but I think I've got no... as far as I'm concerned, this will be a drawable shoe. So this is my first option. So if you're looking at a sort of 4.5 hour to 3 hour marathon, I think this comes really high up in my suggestions as a good shoe for a heel striker. Okay, next we have a unheralded shoe that I really like. I think it looks cool. It's from a really cool brand called Diadora, and it is the Diadora Gara Carbon. Okay, now again, this has got a nice 40mm stack. Again, it's got a nice flare in the sole of your foot there, so it means it comes out, so you've got quite a wide landing base. Look at that, it's nice and wide. What this shoe is really, I mean, it's got a really nice upper as well. It's got this kind of matrix mesh upper. I think it looks really cool. What the kind of like really good selling point of this shoe is how stable it is, how nice it's to land on this heel. You can use the bevel to kind of transition very smoothly to the forefoot, where you get a really lovely toe spring. In some ways, this reminds me of the Sky Paris, but just a lot more stable and a bit heavier version. But again, I think this is a great shoe for anyone who's a heel striker looking to do that kind of 4 hours, 4:30, right down to the 3 hour mark. I think for a really quick runner, you could take this shoe and you could run way below 3 hours in this shoe. It's a really versatile shoe. It's got those great ridged laces as well, good lockdown, and the foam, these Pebax foam, blended Peba is lovely, absolutely lovely. This is one of my favorite shoes, by the way. So yeah, I would highly recommend this as another option for running your marathons in. Let's go with another option, which you may not have thought of, but again, a really nice heel striking shoe. And this is the New Balance Supercomp FuelCell. That might be the wrong way around, but it doesn't matter. Version 4. Okay, this is the London edition, or London Marathon edition. As you can see, it's a bit jazzy. Looks pretty nice though. It's got a really nice base to land on. It's really wide. You do have this cutout here, but it doesn't affect the heel landing. The foam's sufficiently firm. It's not soft like some of the foams we've had recently. You know, the Adidas Pro 4 or the Hoka Cielo X 2.0. This is a bit firmer, but really nice and responsive. Very stable shoe. In this shoe, you've got a very low drop of 4mm. So for me, it's great. You get lots of padding around here, but it's also good for you, the heel strikers. You get a nice big slab of 40mm here. It's got some nice sidewalls for stability. And honestly, I think this is an underrated shoe for going fast in. I think, again, if you're looking at 4.5 to 3 hour marathons, I think this is a really good bet. I think the only thing to be wary of this, I went with my usual size 9. I should have gone 9.5. New Balance runs short. So if you do go out and purchase this, just bear that in mind. It's got a lovely, nice, wide forefoot as well for those who've got wide feet. So again, I think this is a really viable choice for your marathons. And lastly, in this category, it's one of my favorites, of course, the Hoka Cielo X1. And those that watch my channel know how much I love this shoe. I think this is very versatile. I think it's good for a number of different people, including heel strikers. It has a cutout here, but unlike the version 2, it does not splay that much. The cutout's thinner here, and it's less deep at this point here, and so you do not get as much splaying. It's a lot more stable with the cutout on the lateral side, so those that pronate get a lot of support as they pronate. It's got the wing plates, and all in all, this would make a tremendous marathon shoe. I've run 255 in this shoe, as you'll be sick of hearing from me talking about it. That's how much I rate this shoe and know it's a good shoe for marathons. But for anyone looking at 4:30 to 3 hours, I think this is a superb shoe. This shoe is at around 264, so it's the heaviest of all these shoes that I've mentioned. I should mention that this is also 228 grams, so it's quite light. And this shoe, I forgot to mention, is 250 grams in my UK size 9. So this is the heaviest of the shoes, of the 4 shoes I've mentioned so far. But it's also the one that you get the most energy return from. So just bear that in mind. There's a lot of negativity around the weight with this shoe, but it's counteracted by how much propulsion you get from it. So there are 4 shoes that I think would be really good for those aiming at that kind of bracket of 4:30 to 3 hours, okay? Now, I'm going to suggest some speedier shoes for those that are heel strikers but really want to go for it. The first one may not surprise many people. It's the Alphafly 3. It's got a really nice transition from heel to forefoot. It's got a decently wide base, and it's one of these shoes that you just basically set a pace and lock into that pace and cruise. And those with, that are heel strikers, you get the benefit of this nice bevel. You don't get this, like in the first or the second version where there was a cutout here. You don't get that feeling of 2 different parts of the midsole. It feels a lot better to transition from heel to forefoot now. So the Alphafly 3 is a lot better shoe, I think, for heel strikers. It has, in my opinion, the best upper of all the racing shoes. It conforms to your foot shape. It's reasonably wide. It fits true to size. Everything about it is lovely. Get great lockdown, no lace bite. It's a sock-like knit fabric upper that just clings to your foot without any issues whatsoever. And you've got these lovely laces to go with it. The ZoomX foam's great, and obviously the pods, if you land on the pods, you're going to get all that bounce. But if you transition from your heel onto the pods, you still get propulsion. So it's an amazing shoe. Those looking to go under 3 hours in a marathon and the heel strikers, I highly recommend the Alphafly 3. There's no shock horror there. It's just a really good racing shoe. Okay. Another one that's decent for heel strikers is the Endorphin Elite V1. I don't know about the V2 yet. I haven't got it, but it's a lot softer. It's a TPE foam. This PBWRRUN foam, by the way. I think it might not be quite as stable for heel strikers, or stable full stop. But what you have here, if you're hearing a noise in the background, it's my coffee maker just decides to clean itself, so I apologize about that. What you have with this shoe is a really nice wide heel again. It's not got a massive cutout here, it's just a tiny bit there. It's quite a firm shoe, so those who don't like firm foam may not like this shoe, but you've got a nice heel bevel, and again it's a nice transition from heel to forefoot. A 40mm stack height in the heel, so you've got a lot of cushioning and support there. And it's an 8mm drop, so 32 in the forefoot. It's a super fast shoe. It's an aggressive shoe. You've got this really aggressive rocker, so once you transition from heel to forefoot, you rock through and it throws you forward. It's an amazing shoe. Very lightweight upper, very breathable, have no issues whatsoever. Again, superb lockdown. It's got this nice little pad pillow for your heel that looks a bit weird, but it keeps you really well locked in. And the top bit is so unstructured. If you look at there, got a bit more structure down the bottom, and this area here provides really nice support for your ankle to keep it locked in. But all in all, incredible shoe. I ran the Berlin Marathon in this shoe and in a time of 2:56. I don't even think I did myself justice that day. I got caught in a pack, so it was difficult for me to break it through. So I think this could be potentially a lot quicker than that for me. One of my favorite shoes, by the way. Just a little on the firm side, so you need to break this one in. Okay, and the weight-wise, for the Alpha Fly 3, this came in at 221 grams in my UK size 9. This shoe is even lighter at 218. But it's not the lightest of the fast, good heel striking shoes. Excuse me. We have the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. Now, this is a really light shoe. It's 204 grams. You've got, again, an 8mm drop. It's a bit of a theme with these faster shoes. You've got this aliphatic TPU foam, which is really nice and responsive. Not the softest again, but soft enough for it to feel pleasurable to run in. You've got this nice woven mesh upper, which again confirms to your foot shape. It's quite narrow, but actually with a wideish foot, I didn't have too many problems with this. I sized down with this shoe. It runs a bit long, so I went 8.5, which is unusual for me, and it works fine. Like I said, 204 grams, it's super light. Great lockdown. You've got a really flexible heel counter, a nice padding around the collar, and a decent tongue. You get no lace bite with this shoe. Super fast. Again, what I like about this for heel strikers is you've got a pretty solid heel. You've got no massive cutout here. So when you land, there's no splaying that goes on. The only thing I would say is a narrowish base. So those with stability issues, this is probably not the best shoe, but you do have a nice heel bevel that you can use to transition smoothly from heel to forefoot. So another rapid shoe that will get you under that 3-hour mark in your marathon if you're a heel striker. Okay, and then two shoes that you may not really associate with marathon running, but I want to talk about them because I think they're a viable option for you heel strikers. First one is the Adidas Prime X Strung 2. It's got a huge heel. I find it really nice when I land on the heel. I get a nice bounce from this heel, propulsion through to the forefoot, and a nice spring from this plate and this new Lightstrike Pro foam here that's really super soft with the plates that's sandwiched in between the plates. You're getting really nice bounce once you reach the forefoot. I run the Loch Ness Marathon in this shoe. It's a great marathon shoe. Again, it's a bit like the Alpha Fly, and you set a pace, and then you lock in and you cruise, and it just bounds you along superbly, this shoe. I wouldn't hesitate in recommending this for a marathon. It's the heaviest of all the shoes that we've discussed here, though. It's right up at 230 grams in my UK size 9. I'm not a biggest fan of this strung upper. It's very scratchy, so sizing can be a bit tricky in this, or you can get some serious toe rub. It's wide-ish, but not mega wide. So with this really kind of scratchy upper, I've occasionally had issues with my toes. Lockdown could be better. I think in all that, it's probably my least favorite upper of all the ones we've talked about. But in terms of the midsole, it really is a very propulsive, really amazing for energy return, this shoe. And it'll glide you and cruise you through those 26 miles with, I was going to say without even knowing it, that's not quite true, but it will help a lot, trust me. And it's really nice, like I said, wide base to land on. It is 50mm of stack in the heel, so much cushioning, most of all these shoes, but I think you'll get possibly the nicest, probably one of the nicest rides out of all the shoes that I've mentioned here today. And finally, I've got the Hoka Mach X2. Again, not what you would associate as a racing shoe. This, I think, is one of my favorite shoes because it is so propulsive. When you land on this shoe, it's got a wide base for you heel strikers, and you've got this lovely blend of PBA, EVA foam. So you've got the PBA, nice soft blue PB here, and you've got this nice structured EVA foam to add some stability for when you land. So again, really nice shoe for going fast in. Yeah, all in all, I think this is a great shoe, again, for those who probably are looking at a sort of 4.5, 3-hour marathon. I have a friend who did the Amsterdam Marathon in these exact shoes. Well, not exact shoes, but yeah, you know, looks the same. And he did it in 3 hours, 30 minutes. So, and, you know, and that was one of his first few marathons. So I know this is a really good shoe for running marathons in, and don't hesitate, because it's got, you know, a nylon plate, hasn't got, it's the only one of the shoes that here today that we're talking about without a carbon plate. It's still an amazing shoe for running fast, for running long, with this 43 millimeters of stack, 6 millimeter drop. So you get lots of cushion both in the heel and when you transition to the forefoot. Really nice heel bevel, smooth transition as before. Only issue with this shoe is some people are having problems with the heel and getting severe kind of blisters in their heel. So you need to try that out first. If you give it a 5K run on the treadmill and you're getting some friction here, then the shoe is not going to work for you. The next iteration of this is coming though, so I suggest those with heel problems potentially go for that one. It's such an amazing shoe, not just for running marathons or racing, but for training in. I think it's one of my favorite shoes of all of these shoes, and yeah, I can't recommend this enough. So that is pretty much it. So hopefully you've now got an idea of good shoes for heel strikers for marathons, and based on what time you're looking to do, you have an idea of which of those I think would be the best shoe for you. Now, if I had to pick one out of the bunch, well, I'm going to pick two. Out of the bunch, I'm going to pick two. I'm going to go with, well, can I pick three? Yeah, I'm going to pick three, right? I would say for heel strikers, my favorite three shoes would be, remember this is for heel strikers, the Diadora Gara Carbon, the Saucony Pro 4. I think these two are fabulous shoes for marathon running in general, but for heel strikers particularly good. And I'm going to go with the Nike Alphafly 3, because I think it's got such a nice transition from heel to forefoot. I know some people say this is not good for heel strikers. I like it when I hit the heel in this shoe because of that smooth transition. Okay, it might be better you land here, but it's such a good shoe all round that I think even for heel strikers, I think this is one of the fastest shoes out there. So they're my three. Honourable mention, obviously, I think to these two as well. They're super rapid as well. But if I had to pick one, it'd be one of those three. Hopefully that's useful to you all, and I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you soon. Oh, in the comments, before I see you soon, in the comments, please put any thoughts you've had on this video. If there's something I've missed, any other shoes that you'd like to recommend. Remember, I'm talking about super racing shoes, really, or fast shoes. I know there are lots of others like Super Blast, Nova Blast, shoes like that would be great for heel strikers for marathons. But these are primarily pick racing shoes that are available today to buy. Hopefully that makes sense, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. Yeah, I'm in Chelsea. It's lunchtime again. I'm off for a run round Battersea Park. Today I've got a shoe on that I don't normally wear. It's because I'm going to practice heel striking in this shoe and give you a review of what I think are the best heel striking shoes for a marathon. We may even look at short distances as well. Yeah, I might throw that one in as well. You get a lot from me, right? But the main thing is for the marathon, and today I've got on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4s. Let's have a look. They're nice and bright, these shoes. Here we go. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go for my run. I'm going to do some run footage, and then I'm going to present back to you what my thoughts are on this shoe and a few others, like the Diadora Gara Carbon and maybe a couple more. You're spoiled, you lot, aren't you? Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye bye. So I'm on my way to Battersea Park today, and I'm doing a special video today on heel striking. And what do I mean by that? So I've decided I'm going to do roughly the 5k circuit round Battersea Park, and I'm going to just purely do heel striking today. And I'm going to pick a shoe that I believe is one of the best for heel striking. So when I say heel striking, I mean that I'm landing pretty flat with my feet. So the first thing I touch is the heel, because the heel is pretty much the biggest bit of foam underneath in the midsole. So if you land flat, that's going to be the first thing that touches the floor. And I've got on my feet the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4s, which in my opinion are the best for heels, one of the best shoes for heel striking. Now, how does a 4-foot striker and one who's up on his tiptoes a lot know anything about heel striking? I can hear you say. Well, for those of you that follow my channel know that in 2020 I was hit by a car. I broke my leg in 3 places. My T4 and T11 sections of my spine were broken, and both scapular bones in my shoulders were also fractured, on my head as well. Actually, I've got a nasty gash in my skull. So, absolute horrible accident. And before that, I wasn't really a runner. I'd be doing the park, a few park runs, and that was it. But I used to heel strike, and even after the accident, and for my first marathon, such was the pain I was still getting in my leg, particularly the shins, I was still heel striking. So I started my, if you like, my proper running career, long distance running career, as a heel striker, and did my first marathon in the Nike Invincibles, first version, as a heel striker. And I think I did 2 hours 12 in that shoe, and the actual marathon itself went pretty well, to be honest. Too many issues apart from the legs got very heavy. But the point is, I come from a background of heel striking, so I can do it. I'm a weird one in terms of running, where I'm kind of a bit ambidextrous, if you know what I mean. I know that's normally meant for writing or playing tennis, left or right-handed, but I can't think of the proper way of saying it. But the point is, to train myself to be a 4-foot striker took me approximately 6 months. So after my first marathon, I decided the shin issues weren't going away, sorry. And I was thinking, right, what's the best cure? Change the way I run. And lo and behold, after 6 months of really persisting at landing on my 4-foot, my shin issues had gone. Although it did put a bit more pressure on my calves, so you win some, you lose some. But I guess the point is, I can adapt very easily to different foot strikes. So that puts me in a unique-ish position to test shoes. So what I'm doing now actually feels fine. Doesn't feel weird at all, because I used to run this way. It doesn't really cause me any muscle memory issues. Just kind of switch when I want to. And in the Saucony Pro 4s, this is one shoe where it feels much better to heel strike than it does forefoot strike. If I go up onto my forefoot, which I'll do now, it feels a lot harsher, firmer, and not such a nice ride, push ride. But as soon as I go into my heel, I get this nice extra foam. I get this sole flare, which is lovely, and I get this really nice bouncy experience, and it's got a full length plate, so I can still engage that plate. So it feels very stable landing on my heel in this shoe, because as I said, it's got that huge sole flare, which is unusual. So gets a bit of bad press this shoe as being a slow shoe. It's not a slow shoe. You can, if you're on form, really can pick up the pace in this shoe. And it's designed as a marathon racing shoe, right? Super light as well. I'm guessing around sort of the 230 grams in my UK size 9 in this shoe. It's got one of the most lovely uppers. I think only for me, second only to the Alpha Fly 3. It's a lovely upper. It's got this amazing tongue actually that folds forward, so you can cinch your laces on top of it. Really good idea actually. And then you get no lace bite whatsoever. I think the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2 has gone with that same approach, I think. But let me know in the comments if I'm right or not. We're going past the track now. Somebody there doing a track workout. It's good to see. Wonder if I know them. Don't think so. You get quite a few people who are well known runners in Battersea Park, particularly on the track. And yeah, you often see the odd celeb. If you understand the running community, you'll know who they are. But anyway, back to the shoe. So it feels really nice landing on the heel in this shoe. I'm going at well, not quick pace, but I'm not going at a slow pace either. It's just an average pace. I'm feeling it a bit from yesterday's 20 miler. And yeah, I think along with the Diadora Gara Carbon, or Carbon Gara, I think, or whatever, I think this is a very much a viable option for marathon runners who like to heel strike, who want something light, but also want something stable and want something relatively quick. Delivers on all of those. It's just not quite as propulsive and as bouncy as some of the other offerings, but trust me, that kind of thing at the end of the marathon, when you're really struggling with your form, comes secondary to stability and comfort. And this has all of those things in spades. It's a lovely shoe in that respect. Yeah, definitely can't complain about stability in this shoe, particularly if you're a heel striker, which, if you compare it to some of the recent offerings of the Adidas Pro 4 and the Hoka CLX 1 2.0, so much better landing on the heel. The transition from heel to forefoot in this shoe is very smooth. I would even, basically, if I was told I had to run a marathon in this shoe tomorrow, I would probably heel strike for a lot of that marathon, and maybe just go towards the end, go up onto my forefoot and try and hammer the last bit of it. But yeah, thankfully I don't have to do that. But if I had to, I could easily do that in this shoe. Wouldn't bother me that much. So I think that's pretty much all I want to say, really. So to wrap up, if you're a heel striker, if you're around about the 4.5 hour to 3:30, that's your goal aim for the marathon. These would be perfect shoes, and if any of you got stability issues as well, then I think these would work really well as well. So we will do a comparison with the Diadora Gara Carbon, which I also think is a great shoe, and one which is vastly underrated in my opinion, apart from my mate Max, friend of the channel Max, who loves them. And this one is for you, Paul. You did ask for my opinions on stable shoes, whether you like it or not. The Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 I think would tick a lot of boxes, but you need to be the judge of that. I'll see you later. Bye bye.